we have fire. To the coal. I think you're... Hello. Welcome back to another episode from Pale Horse Survival and Tactical. I'm Bill, and today we're going to make some pine pitch glue, primitively, 100% primitively. First of all, I have the remains of a fire here. This is completely cold. It's been out for probably a couple of weeks, maybe longer, but there's charcoal in here, the remains of the fire. What we're going to do here is we're going to hit this coal with the sparks from a ferro rod and revive it. Charcoal will readily take a spark There we go. It's getting hot. Just like lighting a barbecue. Other pieces are lit in here as well. Got some cedar bark here. Coals are spreading from one coal to another. Just as they do in a barbecue. Everything's a little damp up here still. It's taking just a bit to get going. always revive those old coals. Flint and steel will work also. It's exactly the same as lighting fire with char cloth, except this is 100% sustainable. In a primitive situation, char cloth is not. Everything's a little damp up here, so it's taking a little bit to get going. If this was drier, it would really take off. That's why the charcoal is a good fire making resource, because it burns a lot hotter. It's pyrolyzed. It's reduced down to its basic carbon component. There we go. Now we're starting to cook. So instead of going out looking for a bunch of tinder, and if you have coals, doesn't matter how old they are, they need to be dry. They are a viable fire starting resource. Just like the charcoal video I just posted on my channel. I just did a ways back. Showed how to make charcoal. Has a variety of uses, and fire starting is one of them. And we're going to make pine pitch glue right on this rock here. So I want to get this up here so it'll start heating up, and then we'll pull it out, because the pine resin is very flammable. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build up the fire a little bit, get some coals going here, and let that rock heat up, and then we'll start with the we'll begin with the process of making pine pitch glue primitively. Stay tuned. Okay, what I've done here is I've shoved the rock into the fire, and I'm going to get this rock good and hot. And once it's hot, I'm going to pull it out here, because pine sap / resin is very flammable. You don't want to use it around the open flame, and if it catches on fire on the rock here, it'll be very difficult to put out. So once the rock is nice and hot, I'll pull it out here away from the flame, and put the globs of pine sap on here, and let it melt down, and then we'll proceed with making the pine pitch glue. Stay tuned, I shall return. Okay, I think this rock is hot enough now. I can put my hand on it, and it's so hot now that I can't keep my hand on it. You don't want it red hot to where it's glowing, but you want it hot enough to melt the pine sap. I'm going to pull this out of here, clean that off. I have this bag of resin here, pine sap that I harvested, and I'm just going to make a very small little batch today, just for demonstration purposes. Find a suitable piece here. This will probably work. So we'll stick that one on there. Ooh, man, yeah, that's hot. It's already starting to stick to it, so it's doing its thing. I'm going to cruise this just a little bit closer to the fire so we have enough heat on it here. So we're going to melt this down until it's liquid. There's a little depression here in this rock, so this rock actually works really good for this, at least for making a small batch. Apologize for the noise, a couple dirt bikers cruising by on the trail. So it's already starting to get sticky here. I'm actually going to scoot this back over. There's not a lot of flame going on in there, so if the fire was really roaring, I wouldn't do that, because it would I wouldn't want to run the risk of catching that on fire. So basically, I'm going to let this sit here and keep an eye on it until it melts down, and as soon as this is turned liquid, I'll go ahead and I'll return, and I'll show you how we're going to finish this this glue off, and we'll glue a couple sticks together with it. Stay tuned, I will be back. Okay, starting to melt down pretty good, and you can see the sap starting to bubble here. And that's why the depression is very important. Otherwise, the sap, as it liquefies, it would just run right off of the rock. So it's melting down pretty good now. Yeah, you don't want to get the rock like glowing red hot. I've never done that, but I imagine that would ruin the resin if it's that hot. You know, just have it hot enough to where you put your hand on it and you can't hold your hand. I mean, you touch it and like, ooh, it's hot. You know, but if it's glowing red hot, that's, I think you've gone above and beyond the Call of Duty at that point. Piece of bark here. Get rid of that. There's a little white ash that's blowing in there, and that's fine. That doesn't hurt anything. I would say the temperature is just about right. It's hot enough to where it's bubbling. Just going to let this continue to melt. It's melting down pretty fast. And again, if you're going to have it this close to the fire, just have the flames out. This stuff's really flammable with the turpentine content that's in it. It's a very, very valuable fire starting resource. Stuff hasn't all heated up yet. get in there. As it gets warmer, the rock's not quite as hot. It's hotter over here. It's heating up pretty good though. Try to scoot that blob over to the hotter side. Okay, so the general rule is with pine pitch glue, you want to add approximately 50% or a 1-to-1 ratio of charcoal to the glue. I have the charcoal here. This is just charcoal out of the fire. It could be charcoal that you make, and you want to just kind of eyeball it. So a 1-to-1 ratio. One thing to remember is charcoal acts as a bonding agent. It provides flexibility to the glue. In other words, if we just let this dry, we pull it out and let it cool and reharden, it's going to be hard and brittle. So whatever you attempt to glue together is going to be if it gets stress put upon it or force, it can break. Say you made a pair of primitive moccasins and you wanted to attach a pair of rawhide soles to it, so you could glue this in, but you'd want it flexible because your foot bends as you walk. The sole bends. So approximately a 50% ratio, 1-to-1, is going to provide flexibility as a bonding agent. Now if you need more flexibility, you could go up to 55-60%. Don't go too high with it. It'll wind up becoming way too flexible and it'll lose its adhesive qualities. So I'm eyeballing this, and it doesn't have to be exact, it's not an exact science. I'm eyeballing this, and this isn't bad right now. This isn't bad. So what we're going to do is, the rock's a lot cooler over on this side, so I'm going to try and keep everything over here a little bit further over. So what we're going to do is eyeballing that. That's probably roughly a 1-to-1 ratio. Pretty close. So the way you do this is you grind the charcoal up. Boy, it's hot. You could powderize this on a rock too and add it in. I think we have enough charcoal in there right now. So just mix it all together. This is Bushcraft epoxy. It's a great waterproofing agent. Now that we've added pitch to it from, get it over here in the heat a little further. We've added pitch to it from the charcoal. Now it is known as pine pitch. Sticks falling apart here. this over here in the heat. I can see how it's really turning more liquid as I get it over to the hotter side of the rock. There it is. It's getting a lot more liquid over here. There it goes. It's just way too gummy on this other side. You can add animal fur to this. And what the animal fur will do, it'll act as improvised fiberglass. So what I'm going to do here is a little demonstration. See, it's a lot more liquid over here now. It just wasn't cutting it on the other side. This is doing a lot better over here. And this stuff, as it cools, it solidifies fast. It really doesn't take long at all. Yeah, see, it's flattened out over here in the heat, and I can see it bubbling. Just didn't have quite the heat on the other side. You have to work kind of fast with it once you take it off the rock, because the stuff does solidify pretty quick. It's very much like working with fiberglass resin. Put this back over here. I wind it back up. Let that cool down. And to hasten the cooling process, I could be dipped in water too. See, it's already, I mean, it sets up that fast. It really doesn't take long at all. This thing's actually pretty strong already. Oh wow, yeah, that really set up nice. Stuff is really freaking strong. Concludes our video on pine pitch glue. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did making it for you guys. Hope everybody is having an outstanding day or night, depending on where you're located. And I will see you all very soon on the next one. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.